Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday Wisdom. Today is spring equinox, March 20th. My name is Marty Forrest. My website is Hello Extraordinary Life. Go to that landing page, helloextraordinarylife.com, and pick up your free guide, 3 Steps to Reprogramming Your Negative Self-Talk. All of the other recordings are on the website too, under Insider Calls. You can click on any other of the I don't know what they're called, icons up there. Contact me, work with me, check out the 6-week course. It's beginning April 6th, so a week from Saturday, I think it is. 2 weeks from Saturday. That's a 7-week, I said 6. It's 7 weeks. I added a week. It's been 6 for the first couple of years I did it. So I added a week. I'm going to add some content and shift it around a bit. And that will be Saturday mornings, 8 o'clock, 1 hour a week. And then the rest of it is up to you and what you put into it. There's a workbook that goes with it. It's been a well-developed and a lot of fun and great information and good healing type of course. So if you like to work with other people, the value of being in the group is that everybody's doing the same kind of work, same kind of transformation, and sometimes there's just more momentum in the group. And if that's not for you, I do one-on-one coaching. So either way, you can get what you need to get on the journey or continue the journey inside. It's all about that emotional wellness and loving ourselves on the inside. That's the answer for everything in our life, is to reach that point of being able to love ourselves so that we can love more fully in the world. And that's what I do. Help people navigate the terrain on the inside. Today's topic is managing our emotions. I found it an interesting topic. It's taken a lot of years to learn how to manage my emotions. And it's about managing them. It's about living with them and understanding them and knowing what they are. It's not about stuffing them and pretending they aren't there. And there's a lot of them. So this came out of something that happened, the song that, and it every once in a while still pops up in my mind, the 2 lines, only those 2 lines, it's not right, it's not fair. And I'm like, why? I'm annoyed after a couple of weeks of hearing only those 2 lines. Why these 2 lines? That's the only one time in the whole song they're ever said. The rest of it's about the way you love me, Faith Hill. I went and looked up the lyrics so I could get the bigger context about that line, and it wasn't really helpful. I did not find it helpful. What I do know is sometimes when I hear something like that, there's something under it. When I'm hearing the same verse over and over, sometimes people say it's spirit or one of your loved ones bringing a message to you, and maybe that's true. I like to think that. It makes me feel better. But out of that particular song, that line, those verse, I just sat with it. So this is one way that when something's up for me, when something's up for you, one way to manage or to be with the emotions is to simply be with them until we know what's happening. We don't always know. All we know is there's that song showing up, and I'm wondering, what's the message of the song? Sometimes, though, we're having reactions to things and emotional responses to things, and maybe we don't know why. And when those things happen, it's about sitting with the emotions, acknowledging the emotions. Sometimes it's about breathing through the emotions. It's a big topic. Emotions, and it's all about being in this human body, in this human form, having these human emotions. And in our makeup of being human, mostly we only want to feel good. That's a lot of our ego talking. It only wants to feel good. And that's not life. That's not a true life of being 100% authentic in our state of being, in our emotional state. I I like feeling good too, and went through a phase in my life of doing things that enhanced the feeling good until that didn't work. And that's where I learned how managing my emotions, being with my emotions, honoring my emotions. When they show up, what am I feeling? Sometimes I don't even know what I'm feeling. I'm just feeling something. And so part of managing it is my behavior, which is where I was driving at, I think, in the email. If I'm having a bad day, I was thinking of a person in my world that when they are tired, they're just a jerk. They just are not nice to be around. And I was, so that's where I started. When I was thinking of him, I put it to the song. I'm like, oh, that's not right. That's not there. And where I went in my brain was, I don't get to behave like that. I don't get to act out just because I'm tired or I'm having a bad day or I'm grumpy. I don't get to treat other people bad because I'm having a moment and I can't manage myself. Now, these are all choices. It's none of my business what he does. It's not. What is my business is how I behave. And so that kind of put the piece together with that. It's not right because sometimes I want to just feel like a victim. And go, no, I don't have to behave. I don't have to manage myself. And I want to act out and I want to be an asshole. Yeah, that doesn't serve my life. Doesn't serve any of us, really. And we all have our moments. I kind of put that together with that, of like, because those two lines, when I think of that, it's a victim mentality, it's victim language. And I like to think I'm never a victim. I've worked hard to not be a victim and to be responsible in my world. And that song, those two lines were in my head. I'm like, where am I still being a victim? And so it evolved into all that. And there's other ways that we show our emotions. It's not just about what we speak. It's our body language, our facial expressions. I have zero poker face. And somebody said to me one day, my husband said it, he said, maybe when you try someone's food, you could not make so many faces. I'm like, no. I just put my foot down. I said, absolutely not, because that's inauthentic in my world. If you don't want to know how your food is for me, don't look at me when I eat it. Because there are many expressions that cross my face as I'm tasting the food. Doesn't mean I don't like it. But that's the power of body language and people's interpretation. How many of us get angry and go around slamming doors or giving the cold shoulder or ignoring someone, giving them the silent treatment? That's just as loud as yelling. It's often louder. Sometimes the unspoken is louder than the spoken. How do we manage all that? Sometimes it's simply saying what is so. I'm really grumpy right now. Sometimes it's exercising, going and burning out the energy that's whatever it is that's we're carrying around with us. If I'm angry or I'm sad, somebody told me one time, I had a mentor, she said, go do something until you feel different, whether it be exercising, praying, writing, drawing, walking the dog, petting the dog, whatever that was. Do it when you're like, she was talking about when I'm in a bad mood. Do it until you feel different. And at that point, I was working through a lot of anger. So I would go do things, often physical, to burn off the anger until I felt different. Because I didn't want to take it out on somebody. And that's the point. When we're managing ourselves, it doesn't mean we're dishonoring our emotions. It means I'm not treating someone bad because I'm having a moment. Being honest. I don't have to give them all the details. Some people think, oh, I have to tell them everything or nothing at all. Well, People, we read each other all the time. That's where a lot of our judgments come from. So simply stating, I'm having a moment here. I'm doing all right, or I'm hanging in there. When my dad died, that became very crystal clear to me that I wanted to honor him and walk through my grief, but I didn't want to spew it everywhere. And there was a woman in the checker at the grocery store, and she asked me how I was doing, and I said, my dad just died. I'm having a real hard time. She said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And that was it. End of the conversation. I didn't have to tell her anything. I could have just said I was grieving. The point is, I simply stated what was so for me because that was important to me to be authentic and true to me. Because in those moments, I'm not talking. I'm real quiet and I withdraw. And a lot of us do that when we're when we don't know what we're feeling, or we're sad, or we're mad. We just kind of withdraw. And sometimes it's just important to let people know without giving all the details. That's managing my emotions. Sometimes it's important to talk about them. It's important to call someone that we trust and talk about what's going on and let them know. Give them a heads up what you're calling for. Hey, I'm calling. I need to vent. Hey, I need to talk. I need some feedback. Whatever it is, let them know so they can listen and be successful in how you need them to be for you. And that's not easy always. When we're beginning this path of sharing what is so for us, it's not easy, it's not comfortable because we're used to doing it how we always do it, which whatever your MO is, whatever your mode of operating is. Mine was to get angry because I covered up a whole lot of other stuff. Because I didn't want to feel the other stuff. And somewhere down the road, 6 months down the road or so, someone asked me how I was doing, and after my dad died, and I said, I'm mad that I'm mad. I'm mad that I'm sad. I'm sad that I'm sad. All these, he says, you sound like Dr. Seuss, which made me laugh because I didn't do a lot of Dr. Seuss. But my point of that was I didn't like all those feelings I was having, and I felt like anger drove me. And to be sad was more of a depressive Eeyore. If you know who Eeyore is, I had someone, she was from Germany. She's like, who's Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh? Who's a depressed donkey? And he just moped along. And to me, that's what grief was. It's not true, but that's how it felt. And it was my own fear of not wanting to feel what was under my anger. So anger was a driver. When I got beneath that, I didn't live in that sad state forever. And that's just one thing. This is true of any of our emotions. We all have that default place that we go to. Where do we default to? Mine was anger. Some people default to depression or silence or laughter. Some people joke to cover up what's going on underneath everything. And being real and managing ourselves and managing our emotions doesn't mean that we just vomit everywhere. It just means that we be true to ourselves. And maybe that's not telling everybody. It's a choice, right? It's just about us being true to ourselves and being cordial in the world and being kind to other people, because we all have our moments, right? So then when we're doing that for ourselves, we're kind to ourselves, there's some compassion for ourselves, and we're sharing, whether it's a line or all of it, depending on who that's with, it allows other people to have permission to feel their own and to be real for themselves. Because we're shining that light, or leading the way in that avenue of living authentically, and being real for ourselves. Gives people permission. Whether they take it or not is up to them, but the point is that we give them permission to do that by being real for ourselves. The kinder, more gentle, more loving we can be for ourselves, and part of managing. I never know exactly what I'm going to say. It's a part of managing our emotions is to be okay with ourselves, right? To be kind and compassionate and allow ourselves to have the feelings and not make ourselves wrong or feel bad for having the feelings. Prime example, every year taxes come and I just don't do well. I don't like doing it, so I don't do it, which is to keep books every week or every month or whatever it is. So every year tax time comes and I sit down and I do it all at once, and it takes a few hours being an entrepreneur. And I complain, and then I think, this is just so stupid. Why do you do this every year? This is ridiculous that you do this. And I'm having this conversation, and this year I went, look at what you're doing to yourself. Because I do it every year, so I either need to change how I do it, B, have somebody else do it, or C, accept how I do it. Right? So part of managing my emotions is to manage them with me. I don't have to be mean to myself because of how I do something. I need to do something about it if I don't like it or if it's not working. Right? So there's just a shift, so I don't have to be mean or berate myself, which is what I was doing to some degree. Maybe not like it was last year or the year before, but to some degree I heard my language that I was saying to myself, and I was like, oh, wow. So listening. So I get to manage myself too, right? I get to manage my emotions with myself. I don't have permission to treat you bad because I'm having a bad mood or doing something that I'd rather do different. And why would I do it to myself? This is where it starts, right? This is where all of our behavior, all of our language starts. If I'm doing it to you, you can be certain I'm doing it to me. And it's always first to me. So here's a thought. If I took my voice in my head outside of me, and that was my friend outside of me, we wouldn't be friends very long. Today we would. But there was a time that was not true. They didn't really like me very much. And if my friends spoke to me the way that I used to speak to me, yeah, that wouldn't go very long or very far. So why is it okay for me to do that to me? And with that, I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to open up the line. And ask you if you had any aha moments or anything you'd like to share that resonated for you, or are you still there? Did you mute yourself?
I'm still there.
Is there anything you would like to share?
I don't have anything to share, but it was nice. I learned a lot.
Good. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Hang in there, sister.
Okay,
Hang on,
thank you.